I don't know where I left off the last video, so I figured I'd make a quick little one. I swapped in an RS rear diff from I think it's an Evo 4. I don't remember. Swapped out these knuckles. I tossed the ones I had. They were from an Evo 8. They were really beat up and rusted, so these ones are in really good shape, and they have the e-brake assembly in them. Mine was missing the e-brake assembly, and I pieced out all the components, and it was a couple $100, even from Rock Auto. So I just swapped them over to these. I did swap over the Evo 8 arms though, because the trailing arm and the I guess you want to call that the camber lower control arm. Those were cast iron on the Evo 4 apparently, so I swapped them over to the Evo 8 ones. So now they are a nice aluminum, and we put the engine and transmission back in, but sadly I'm currently in the process of pulling the transmission back out because the clutch does not stay in anymore. I put an act mono lock in it, but apparently it has compatibility issues with certain clutches, and they don't list those on their website. So it's a luck of the draw. Obviously it'll probably fit an Exity, no problem, because that's who provides the OEM clutches, and all of their designs are the same across their clutch platforms for the Evo. So no matter if you get a twin or a triple, the release bearing setup is the same. And obviously ACT or ACT, they include a monolock with their clutch kits since the beginning of the time when they started making the monolock. So yeah, transmission's got to come back out. So I just finished taking the transfer case out. I made a 3D printed a bracket, designed it to hold my proportioning valve. We got the fuel lines in. I got my catch can set up run, the AN fittings pressed in. I still need to take this back off, and it's almost ready to paint. It looks pretty bad, but it's nice and smooth, and all the chunks of paint are gone. What you see now is just like previous stuff that people did to the red. It's a shame that they repainted it at some point, and then I painted it again without doing the proper prep work, but I'm doing it this time. So, but it's on currently because it's, you know, we're messing around with the top of the engine. I don't want shit to fall in. So, and then I sadly took everything apart so you can't see the drive shaft, but I got the front carrier bearing mocked up. I got riv nuts in there, and then I got the bolts for it. But the rear, I tried to get a two-piece shaft, and it was from an Evo 8, and it does not work. The transfer case on the Evo 8s are shorter. I don't know by how much. What is it? Random. Glad I found that. The transfer case is shorter, which makes the drive shaft longer, so they changed some stuff in the chassis, and it wouldn't fit, and the yoke was also the wrong one. So I took it to a drive shaft shop, and they pretty much said that they washed their hands with Mitsubishi drive shaft stuff because they couldn't get original parts anymore, and all they had is aftermarket, and they keep coming back as garbage. So they said they don't even bother with them anymore. So I was like, all right, that's respectable. I can respect that. And they said, you know, get a hold of, go on the forums and see if you can find some answers. And the forums has pretty much come to the conclusion that drive shaft shop was the only place that had anything, and they won't make anything or modify existing parts. They'll only make new stuff, and I don't have $2,000 to sit there and dump into just a drive shaft. There's so much more stuff that this car needs. So I mocked up the original drive shaft, and I think I can make it work. I made a post on like 10 different Facebook groups when I haven't got a single hit. I was hoping someone was going to be parting out a 4 through 6 chassis, and they can just draw a square over the inside of the car right in there. It sits right here is where the rear drive shaft carrier mount is. It's literally right here in this spot where the shifter or the e-brake cables bolt to. I was hoping they can just cut that little square out and I can just patch it and weld it in, because I mean, what's another patch and weld in at this point in this car? But haven't got any hits yet back. It's kind of annoying. It's like I posted in like 10 groups, total of like 120,000 people. I figured somebody would be parting the chassis out, but I guess not. There was a guy that made a post a couple days ago, but it seemed like a scammer. It's so hard to tell these days. I mean, it's not hard to tell, but it is easy to tell. Kind of thing where like it's blatantly obvious sometimes, and sometimes it's you gotta dig a little deeper, and it's kind of annoying. But so far I'm getting there. I still have to order a few things. I got my speed density kit from I forgot where Extreme PSI, I think. So it's an OmniPower GM style 4-bar with the GM IAT. Got a MAC valve for boost control. I figured, talking to two different tuners, they pretty much just said go to speed density and just be done with it. Granted, I'm on an Evo 5 ECU, so I'm not sure. I think SETImod supported it, but in like a post from a few years ago, it said it wasn't fully supported, but then it was updated, so I have no idea. I just need to get it running for this one race, and then it'll come back in the garage. We can figure out what worked, what didn't. I can change some stuff, and then I was just going to go to a standalone. ECU Master Black seems to be the best bang for the buck. So I was going to go with that and then buy the universal harness kit and then make my own harness. It won't be my first rodeo making a harness. I've made several harnesses at this point for cars, so I'll go ahead and do the same for this one so I can clean all this up, because this car doesn't need as much wiring as the car has. So, because it's still got like AYC stuff in there and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that over the winter. I was gonna buy some racing seats for the car, but budget's getting tighter and tighter because every single time I turn around, there's something else that has to be purchased for this thing, which is understandable. It's just how this stuff goes. And over the years, Evo parts have gotten way more expensive. So, you know, a part that I was like, oh yeah, I'll go and buy that. I look online, it's like 4 times the price it was 10 years ago. So, you know, it's just how it is. Just the way everything rolls these days, especially. So I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to use the seats from the Legnum. The Legnum needs a little bit of work. I've been having some issues with it. It's not running as good as it used to. It also doesn't help the fact that the boost controller I bought from Australia keeps randomly working and not working, so I think that's the contributor. It'll just turn off and then it goes to gate pressure, and it's tuned for way higher boost than gate pressure, so it just doesn't have any steam to it. But once it starts working randomly again, it'll feel okay. So I need to take all that out and apart, and I bought a brand new for Mitsubishi boost control solenoid for the Legnum. So I'll put that in and then plumb it up with new hose and whatnot while this is running. So that's the plan for this for now. Sorry, it's a 9-minute video. I'm gonna take a time lapse, I think, of us taking the transmission and putting it back in, I think. And getting pretty good at actually taking this out. I got the transfer case out in just a few minutes. Granted, I didn't have the intermediate shaft in, and I know that that's like kind of the biggest, this is the biggest like hurdle for taking the transfer case out, is the intermediate shaft. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's easier because it's not fully in. But yeah, hopefully pull the transmission out on Thursday, which is 625, and then go from there. But I'm going to tell everybody now on YouTube that because what I'm doing to fix this problem is I'm putting the original clip that came with this spec clutch and then 2 wave springs in here is what I'm gonna do, and then put it together. And if the slave, or if the throw-up bearing doesn't stay and it pops out again, I am shelving the car for the rest of the year, and then I'm just going to spend some time and money on the Legnum and take that to the track again, because I'm not gonna figure out a new clutch situation if that's the case. So just crossing my fingers, because I'd really like to take this to the track, because the Legnum was fun, but it's all original, and this car will be definitely more capable of taking a beating than the Legnum will, because I got a nice power steering cooler, I got a big oil cooler added onto it. It's the manual trans, so it'll be a little bit more fun to drive, and then it's nowhere near as heavy. This car probably weighs 800 pounds less, I'm gonna say, because it's a mixture of Mirage chassis and Evo chassis, but it's also got like Evo 8 control arms and other stuff, so like that shedded weight. I don't have an original gas tank, I have a aluminum fuel cell, so I feel like this car would have RS weight, but maybe a little bit less, by like 100 pounds or so. So it's probably in the neighborhood of like 2650 if I was to guess. Once I get the cage in, the cage does weigh like 60 pounds or 70 pounds altogether. So, but the Legnum I think is like 3,400 or 3,500 pounds. I don't know, especially for the car of the year edition. But I did take some stuff out of it. Like it doesn't have the factory navigation anymore, or the 6 or 8 disc CD changer and whatnot, because there was the factory nav thing was like a giant computer in the back, but that stuff was negligible weight. So, but yeah, that's the gist of this. I'll make a cool video though once we start it, like once we get it running, like first fire up, because that's going to be interesting. Mainly because my buddy and I tried a Tactrix cable years ago and we weren't successful, but I think I may have figured out what was wrong all those years ago. I was missing one of the wires that goes over to the ECU, because I'm assuming this is an Evo 5 harness, because that's when I bought it from Japan like 20 years ago, that's what it was supposed to be, but it could have been labeled wrong. So I just got to test an ECU connector to the OBD connector to see if it's got continuity, and if it doesn't, which I'm guessing it will, that'll fix that problem. So then we'll get it flashed and then put a base map on it and then start it, and maybe put it in gear and see the car all-wheel drive for the first time. So sorry for a rambling video. That's the update I got.